to not have meaning in life, to lack that definite purpose, is generally because we don't know what our goals are. We lack ambition, we lack that drive, that vision as to what it is that we want to achieve. And if we don't know what it is that we want, then why are we doing it? So when that happens, we generally float through life, keeping the status quo and not achieving anything near to what it is that we want. So this info film is going to be how to get purpose. Enjoy. Hello. Having a reason to do anything, especially changing old habits and behaviour, is the first step in achieving what we want. So in this video, we're going to be talking about what our reasons are, or to put it another way, what our purpose is, what's our why. And then we're going to be talking about what we want, how to get it, and eventually how we can achieve it. To have a definiteness of purpose, we need to have reasons. Reasons to be, reasons to know who we are, and reasons to know what we want out of life. So the first step is knowing our reasons to be. Now this may sound funny or strange, but we all have different reasons for who and what we are as people. In the end, it's all down to your decision. But what's important is knowing who you are for yourself, not who you are as how other people see you or define you. Because in the end, it's us that has to live with ourselves day in and day out. We're not living for other people, we're living for ourselves, just like how other people are living their own lives. So it's vitally important to know who we are as people, that we're actually happy with who we are as people, and we're living that person 100% of the time. And the second step that we'd like to talk about is your reasons for what you want. I mean, what is it that you do want and why? I mean, do you want to change something about yourself? What's happening in your life? Or even do you want to change the people in your life? Whatever it is, you need to be specific in knowing what it is and why that you want something. What is the benefit to you? What is the benefit to you and to the people that you care and love about? And in the end, you need to be sure it's worth doing and having. Basically, what is it that we do need? And if we were to break it down, for me, it's not too difficult. What I need is I need a warm, stable, secure shelter. I'm sure you're the same. We need food. We need the ability to generate income. I like to have predictability in my life. I don't know about you, but also what we need is to have loving relationships and to be happy in ourselves and what we have. So if you think about it right now, if I was to ask you to sit down and write a list of all the things that you think you need, you may actually find it quite hard because you've never done that sort of thing before, or you've never been asked to think about what it is that you actually need. However, if it's other kinds of material things that you think you need, then perhaps you may need to question whether they're what you actually need or whether they are what you want or desire. Because if I was to wave a magic wand over your head and say to you, okay, you're completely and totally debt-free and on top of that financially independent, then I bet you that what you think you need now will be completely changed and your perspective will be very, very different. To have a definite purpose or a reason to do anything is like being on a roaring, raging river that's taking you in a direction that you want to go in and achieving your goals at the end of the journey. And what's vitally important is that the journey is your choice. and you're in control of it. You are the master of your own vessel, instead of this raging torrent of a river taking you to where it wants to go. And what's even more exciting is that you'll be learning just as much about yourself during this journey as successfully achieving your goals at the end of it. At this point in the film, I'd like to share with you my story, if I may, because it may give you an idea of why I'm talking about this. Ever since I can remember, I had no purpose at all in life. I had no ambition, I had no drive, I had no commitment. I just actually floated through life, just taking life as it came. Whatever it threw at me, I went along with it. And so, of course, when negative, bad things happened, I went with it. When good things happened, I went with it. And I never actually directed my life. I didn't know how to take control. I was that person who actually travelled that roaring, raging river, being taken to wherever it wanted me to go. I was being taken. I didn't have any sense of direction. I refused. I didn't even think about taking control over my life and aiming towards where I wanted to go. I just allowed myself to float along. And because of that, I floated into addictions. I floated into alcoholism. I floated into debt. I even floated into relationships and into jobs. I had very, very good jobs. I had very, very good relationships, but I never really appreciated the value of them, the strength of them, the goodness of them. Because I just floated along and expected these things to happen to me without me actually doing anything about it. This purposeless life led me into very, very dark places. It actually led me, I believe, into addiction. It led me into debt. And there was nothing that I could do to see a way out. There was all of these things that were happening to me were part of my past, were part of my present, were part of my future. And it all got mixed up together. And it never seemed to end. The whole point of not having a reason to be is that in the end, you don't know that you don't have a purpose. You think that you have an active, productive life. But how can that be? I tried buying my way out of debt, but of course that didn't happen because I had no strategy. You can't buy your way out of debt. The debt just increases. I tried to convince myself that I wasn't an alcoholic, but then I would drink to make myself feel better. You can't use your addiction to resolve what the problem is, what the addiction is. It's like an all-consuming monster. And because I had no purpose, because I didn't recognise what I was going on, because I was digging my head in the sand, I didn't see a way out of anything other than the short term. I couldn't see the big picture. So this all-consuming monster, which I was feeding, in the end, was feeding on me. So in the end, without having purpose, my life crashed and burned. I hit so many rock bottoms that there were no more rock bottoms to hit. I wouldn't have recognised what they were anyway. It got to a point where I had to say to myself, enough was enough. And the only way that I could get out of this terrible situation that I created, that I chose, was to actually sit down and have purpose. Purpose to get out of debt. Purpose to stop drinking. Purpose to stay out of debt. Purpose to stay sober. And now, with help with learning basic principles, with taking action, with having a strategy, to getting results. I now have purpose, and purpose for everything, every level of my life. My relationships, my loving wife and family, my goals, my ambition, all of these things have helped me to become a different person. It is so important to be able to recognise and not deny behaviour that's getting in the way of us having a happy and productive life. It's so important to accept that perhaps old habits that we think of as just part of our DNA are not helping us to achieve what it is that we want to achieve. All of these things getting in the way of having positive relationships, positive jobs, positive career, positive income, positive marriage, being able to have great relationships with our children, with our friends, being able to serve others, being able to contribute to society. It's so important to realise that the way that we're living our life, that we're possibly not happy with, or we have an inkling that something is wrong, that we're not behaving in the way that we would like to behave, is getting in the way. And because of that, we need to have purpose, choice, motivation, recognition, realization that we need to change. And this was so difficult for me at the time, but also I became aware and learnt with help about myself on so many levels that I needed to change. And it was only by having purpose and dedication and commitment and a plan and knowing how to actually achieve change that I started to recognise how so important it was to have ambition, to have a purpose. Because it's having goals. It's keeping to those goals. It's achieving them. It's taking action. It actually gives meaning to life. Instead of having an ordinary life, we all can have such an extraordinary life. So let's recap, shall we? To know our reason, we need to know what we want, why we want it, how to achieve it, when we can actually get it, and lastly, where to get it from. So if you've liked what you heard, hit that subscription button. And do remember that if you want to learn now, you need to know how. Bye-bye for now.